You wake up and check your phone, and within half a minute your chest is tight, a flight is delayed, a friend has not replied, the weather has ruined a plan. Notice what just happened. The world moved in a way you did not choose, and something inside you began to fight it. The Stoics believed that this fight, not the delay or the silence or the rain, is the real source of human misery. The founder of Stoicism, Zeno, had a phrase for what we are after: euroia biou, a smooth flow of life. He said that flow comes from living in agreement with nature. His student Cleanthes, who later led the school, sharpened the phrase by adding the last part with nature or according to nature. But the Stoics did not mean nature in the modern sense of forests, oceans, and untouched wilderness. They meant something larger, and the difference matters more than almost anything else in their system. The Stoics saw an entirely material universe, but not a dead one. It was shot through with reason and purpose. They thought of it as a great world city, with every human being a citizen connected to it, and to each other as both rational and social creatures. To live according to nature was therefore not to escape into the woods. It was to live according to the reason that runs through all things, and to the social nature that makes us fit for one another. Here is the first surprise. Zeno was the first philosopher to treat duty, or kathekon, as a central concern. Duty meant appropriate action in the roles we actually hold, in family and society. It was no accident that he taught we are obligated to participate in public life until we are unable. A Stoic does not fight the world by withdrawing from it. A Stoic finds the smooth flow by acting inside it, with the grain of things. There is a story behind this. Zeno was not a professor in a quiet academy, he was a merchant from Citium, a city in Cyprus. According to tradition, a shipwreck destroyed his cargo and left him in Athens. A lesser person might have spent years raging at the sea. Zeno instead walked into a bookshop, read about Socrates, and began to ask what a good life would look like from that point forward. He did not get his cargo back. He got a new direction. The shipwreck became the beginning of Stoicism. But how do you learn to do that? Zeno divided the Stoic curriculum into 3 parts, and they were meant not only to be studied but practiced. The parts were physics, logic, and ethics. He used an image that still works today. Physics was the fertile field. Logic was a protective fence that kept out corruptions. Ethics was the fruit produced when the field and the fence worked together in real actions. Most people want the fruit without the field or the fence. The Stoics said that will not grow. The field of physics sounds distant, but it is the cure for a very common illusion. We often act as if the world should follow our preferences. We expect traffic to move quickly, people to be reasonable, our bodies not to age. Then when traffic slows, a person is rude, or a knee aches, we feel betrayed. But traffic, other minds, and aging are exactly the kind of things nature produces. Understanding physics in the Stoic sense means learning the difference between what is ours to direct and what is not. It is not cold science. It is the ability to say, that is the world, not a personal insult. The fence of logic does similar work. Suppose you make a small mistake at work. Without the fence, one error becomes a chain. I made a mistake, therefore I am incompetent, therefore I will be fired, therefore my whole future is ruined. Watch how fast that chain moves. Logic asks, does one mistake prove all of that? No. The field says mistakes are part of working. The fence stops the leap. The fruit is the calm repair you can make in the next moment. Now shift to a deeper layer. Zeno challenged his students to reach a place where everything they did was in harmonious accord with each person's guiding spirit and with the will of the one who governs the universe. That sounds abstract, but it points to something very intimate. Each of us, the Stoics believed, carries a daimon, an inner genius or purpose that connects us to universal nature. The smooth flow of life appears when the individual nature inside you and the universal nature outside you are in harmony. When they are not, the result is friction, confusion, and a quiet kind of war. This is the part most people get wrong about Stoicism. Living according to nature sounds like giving up, like saying, I will stop wanting things, stop trying, and let the world roll over me. But that is not what the Stoics taught. Their God was not above nature, judging it from outside. Their God was synonymous with nature itself. This is Pantheism, God in all things. They held that each of us shares in the divine fire. The same reason that organizes the stars also shows up in your own mind. So fighting nature is not rebellion against a far-off ruler. It is a civil war inside a single living system, and you are fighting a part of yourself. Let me make that concrete. Imagine you are running late for a train. You sprint onto the platform just as the doors close. The train pulls away. In the next few seconds, most people add a second pain to the first. The first pain is the fact the train has left. The second pain is the judgment. This should not have happened. This is unfair. This ruins everything. The Stoic move is not to pretend the train did not leave. It is to notice that the leaving is part of nature, a fact with causes, and that your only power now is in your response. You can check the next departure, call the person you are meeting, or simply stand still and breathe. The fight against the closed door is the misery. The work with the next train is the smooth flow. Notice what changes in that example. You stop demanding that reality obey your preference. You start asking what your role requires now. That is duty in the Stoic sense, not a heavy list of rules, but an appropriate action fitted to the moment. If you are a traveler, the appropriate action is to find the next route. If you are a parent, it is to care for your child. If you are a citizen, it is to take part in public life until you cannot. The roles are not burdens. They are the specific places where your small flame can burn in agreement with the larger fire. But the Stoic account goes one step deeper. They notice that events do not hit us directly. Between an event and an emotion, there is a judgment. Suppose someone speaks to you with a sharp tone. The event is just sound. Your mind adds an impression. They are attacking me, they do not respect me. Then you give assent to that impression and anger floods in. Watch what happens when you withhold assent for a moment. You notice the sound, you notice the thought, and you ask, is that thought true? Maybe the person is tired. Maybe they are in pain. Maybe your own insecurity is doing the talking. The event has not changed, but the second pain disappears. This is the point where many people object. If nature is all there is, and if everything happens according to it, then why try to change anything at all? The answer is that you are part of nature too. Your effort, your reasoning, your decision to help someone, these are not outside the flow. They are the flow moving through you. A river is nature, and it does not sit still. It carves valleys, moves stones, and feeds fields. In the same way, living in agreement with nature does not mean sitting still. It means acting from your own nature, instead of against it. Consider a second example. Suppose someone in your family is sick and you are afraid. The fear is natural, and the Stoics would not tell you to erase it. But fear can either inform your action or distort it. If you treat the fear as a signal, you might arrange care, call a doctor, and sit with the person. That is agreement with nature, because care is natural for a rational and social creature. If you treat the fear as an enemy and fight it by pretending the illness is not real, or by raging at the hospital, you create a second layer of suffering. The illness is already there. The rage is added by you. The Stoic path is to remove the added layer and put that energy into the care itself. The roles you hold are not fixed, and this is easy to forget. You are not the same person at 30 that you were at 10. A son becomes a father. A student becomes a teacher. A citizen becomes an elder. Living according to nature means reading the role that is actually yours now, not the one you wish you had. Most friction comes from trying to play a role that is no longer true or from refusing the role that is. The adult who still tries to live like a carefree adolescent fights nature. The adult who accepts the duty of care finds a surprising freedom inside the obligation. Zeno's insistence on public life can sound tiring. We already have enough demands. But he did not mean everyone must run for office. He meant that a rational and social creature cannot be healthy by tending only to private comfort. You participate by voting, by showing up at a school meeting, by being honest in your work, by caring for a neighbor. These are small public acts. They keep the world city from decaying into a crowd of isolated strangers. Now the bridge from those small moments to the whole of life becomes clear. The Stoics thought the disjunction of the individual and universal natures was a root source of human misery. We are meant to live in harmony like a tuned string. When the string is pulled too tight, it snaps. When it is too loose, it makes no music. The practice of Stoicism is not a single heroic act. It is a daily tuning, You ask, what is actually happening? What am I adding to it? What would my role require now? Those three questions are the physics, the logic, and the ethics made portable. Most of us fight nature in small ways all day. We argue with the weather. We curse a slow internet connection. We replay a conversation from 3 years ago as if we can edit it by thinking. Each of these is the same move. The mind is trying to force reality to match a preference. But the preference is not the problem. The fighting is the problem. Once you see that, you can still have preferences and still move gracefully when reality says no. Take an ordinary Tuesday. You wake to rain, a crowded bus, a cancelled meeting, and a message from someone who is upset. None of these events asked your permission. The Stoic practice is not to feel nothing about them. It is to meet each one with a small act of agreement. The rain is wet, so you take a coat. The bus is full, so you wait or walk. The meeting is cancelled, so you use the hour. The person is upset, so you listen. In each case, you stop fighting what is, and you start using what is. That is the whole discipline in miniature. This may sound demanding, but it is also a relief. You do not have to fix the entire universe before breakfast. You only have to align your next action with the part of nature that is yours. Zeno's smooth flow, euroia biou, was never a promise that life would be free of delays, illness, or loss. It was a promise that your inner current could stop fighting the outer current, so that even in rough water you are not drowning yourself with thrashing. So the next time you feel that tight chest, pause. The delayed flight, the silence, the rain, these are facts. The tight chest is often a story you are telling about the facts. The Stoic move is not to suppress the story or to shout it down. It is to look at it clearly, then ask what the situation asks of you. Maybe it asks for patience. Maybe it asks for a difficult conversation. Maybe it asks for a small, decent action in a role only you can fill. When you answer that call, you are living according to nature. You are not fighting it. You are moving with it, and the smooth flow begins exactly there.